Okay, so a little bit more technical maybe now, talking about site structure and how site structure can be a great foundation for SEO on your website. Google loves structure and consistency, as we know, so just talk through that. If you think back, when Google started, it looked at backlinks and links as a way to index the website and decide what was a good website, what was a less good website, and it used links as a way to crawl the websites and as a measure of importance. And this idea of Google crawling, using crawler bots, as I say, will look through the rest of your website and make these decisions. So these things are still important and they can be used to improve your SEO. So I'm going to talk about links, linking structure, and the importance as well. Now, a word of caution. Whenever you change a link in your website or the URL structure, you risk breaking the link. So if you've got a blog post and you've pointed it to another part of your site, if you change the URL address, then you potentially break the link, which creates something called a 404 page not found error. So if you do make changes, please remember to put a redirect in place. You can have plugins that are in WordPress, or you can do it manually in Squarespace. Typically it's called a 301 redirect, which is a permanent redirect, is what you would normally have, just to make sure that you don't break links. If you have lots of broken links on your website, it's not great for Google, because Google sees that as a bad user experience. If people are going onto your website and they get a 404, it's a page not found, which is not great. Okay, so let's look at the structure of website URLs. So here's one here, yourdomain.com, and I've added in Leeds local business as the slug, as it's called. This section's called the slug. I would keep these descriptions really clear. I would absolutely, definitely not try to keyword spam these. These really need to be your target keywords. So if you're targeting, I don't know, there we go, look, local business photographer, that really needs to be local business photographer, yeah, not local business photographer in Yorkshire, near Leeds, north of Halifax, or west of Halifax, whatever it is, all that stuff. That's just not, that's adding to confusion, okay? So what you need to do is go for consistency and logic. So when you think about structuring your website, I would typically look at very simple, straightforward URLs. So if it's an about page, just call it about. It doesn't have to be about Yorkshire wedding photographer or whatever else you want to put in there. Just try and keep it short and consistent. Internal links are really important. Again, you want to create this web effect where Google can easily crawl through your website, and typically in Google's mind, the more links pointing to a particular page means that that page is more important, yeah? So you need to make sure, as a bare minimum, every page on your website has at least one link pointing to it and one link pointing out from it, yeah? And then you create that web effect. And then pages that are really, really important to you, the ones you want to get ranked, they're the ones where many other pages from your blog, from your footer, from your header are going to be pointing to that page. That's going to show Google that it's a critical page, and one of the things we also call as a cornerstone page, where you might have a lot of content. It's also good to add in some external links as well. So if you're writing a blog post about something, about Yorkshire, let's say, you might add in a link to another important useful resource like Wikipedia or the local tourist board or a map or something else. So have a think about that as well. If you do an external link, it's normally a good idea to do open in a new tab so you don't lose the person off your website completely. But that can be another good thing to do. If you want to add relevance and authority and be useful, external links are fine to have as well. So I'm going to mention something here called a parent structure versus a virtual website structure, getting a bit technical here, but I'm just going to touch on it. You can, if you choose to, layer up the URLs to create more structure in your website. So if you have your domain, you could have the service keyword, which might be wedding photographer, let's say. I'm using that a lot now, but that's as an example. And then you might have North Yorkshire wedding photographer underneath that. That would create a lot of structure, and then you could potentially do all of that, and then you could also have Harrogate wedding photographer underneath that. Okay? Now that will be very obvious to Google what the structure of this website is, But then again, it's going to get very long URLs, and also it's very complicated to manage. So I have implemented this on my website, although it's not a structure I recommend, but I want to just touch on it because there are benefits here in terms of structure, and it multiplies the number of links, and I can use breadcrumbs and various other things, but it's very hard to manage. I would typically recommend a simple one-layered URL structure, as I said, /about, /pricing, /reviews, and I would use your menus to create these layers and levels. When you're thinking about your keyword pages, again, you want to think about keywords that match up with the URL slugs. So if you have yourdomain.com, I would always have pages that were exactly in line with my keywords here. So if you're targeting, I don't know, county level, you're targeting, I don't know, what's the name of a county? Sorry, Surrey carpet cleaner, you could have there. Then you could have, I don't know, Esher as the local town, and then you could have even a sort of a village or whatever the next level down is. You can think about how you structure these things. It's going to be different depending on who you're targeting, your area, and your niche. So all of these things are a part of it. But it's just to give you an idea of, think about a clean, simple structure. I would recommend just keeping it to one level. Think about the keywords that go in those slugs. Don't spam the links. Don't have the links that go on forever and ever. Just try and keep it straightforward. You're trying to create a good user experience. Another thing about links is important is links that are listed on your homepage, links that are listed in your main menu, and also, to a lesser extent maybe, but also still relevant, are footer links. Google views those as more important links. So if you have key pages that you want Google to recognize an important page, as I say, you point links to those pages, but also feature those in your main menu. Put them in your footer links as well. If you've got cornerstone pages, you can put them there, and even links on your front page. All these things will tell Google these are the important pages. So in terms of action steps, take a look at your URLs across your website. Are they consistent? Is it logical? Are they full of spam? If you make any changes, please make sure you put in redirects. Don't just break all the links and create more problems for yourself. Think about your keyword landing pages, which keyword you're targeting, where you're going to focus on, and then review your internal linking strategy as well. So ideally, you've got a link from every page is linked both out and into the page, and then you want to be using blogs and other pages to point to the key pages you want to have ranked. So hopefully that wasn't too technical, and obviously there's more text here for you to go through and move on to the next topic.